Hi everyone, welcome back. So guys, today we are going to study about an arrays. So what is an array here? So array is a collection of multiple sets of data, and that data is of a same data type. A group of numbers, group of a Boolean values, group of strings. All together we can store it as part of a particular array. Okay, perfect. In this array is of a two types, a single dimensional array and a multi-dimensional array. For now, as part of this session, we will be focusing more on a single dimensional array. And an array, if you have a group of data, consider that a group of strings got stored in an array. So consider that this is an array and I have my fruit names. Apple. Okay, this is gonna be my first apple. Banana, this is gonna be my second fruit, and the third fruit is gonna be guava. Consider that there are three different fruits in my array. All the elements in an array can be accessed by using its index. The first value in the array will start with the 0th index. The second value will start with the next index, which is a 1, and the next one is a 2. 0, 1, 2, so on like that. The array values can be accessed with their indexes itself. And the next and a most important thing is you can add an element to a particular array. Okay, you can remove an element from a particular array, and of course, you can modify that particular array as well. So, these are the various operations that we can perform on a particular array. Okay, perfectly all right. So, let's come back to the code. Let me create a new program. Example on arrays dot ts. Okay, arrays dot ts. Then immediately a question that comes in our mind, Surendra, you are saying that array, a group of a similar data types, right? A group of a similar data types you are storing in an array. I know how to define, okay, I know how to define a single string. But how can we define multiple strings? So the syntax for this particular array here is let name of that particular array colon. Consider that you are going to define a group of strings. You just need to add this brackets, which means that this is a multiple values, and those values you can store it in this particular way. Brackets and a name 1, name 2, name 3, something like that. Or let ID array. Consider that it's going to be an employee ID, and of course, it's going to be a numbers, and the numbers is going to be something like that. And let a Boolean array. Okay, Boolean array, and this is the way how exactly we can add this particular Boolean array. And we will see about the any type of moving further, but for now, let us consider these three types. Okay, perfectly all right. So let me define the names array. Okay, let name array colon, okay, string of name John, Jane, Teo. So these are the various names that we have on this particular array. Okay, these are the various names on this particular array. So console.log, the name array, I'm just trying to print this one. Okay, let us try to print this one and check it out what it's being printing down to the console. See the name array, these many values are there in your name array. So my point here is while we were discussing about that, elements in the array can be accessed using index. Okay, elements in the array will be starting using its index, and the index is starting from 0. So which means the 0th index in the name array is pointing to John. Okay, is pointing to John, and the first index is pointing to Jane, and the third index 0, sorry, 0, 1, 2. The second index is pointing to Dio. From this given example, see what I'm doing is, so I'm illustrating this particular set for this example. So 0th index, the first value, first index, which is the second value, third index, which is going to be the second value, like that 0, 1, 2. Always it will start with 0 as an index. So what my requirement is here, I want to print, I want to print, the second element from the array. So in that array, there are a total three elements, 0 index, 1 index, and a 2 index. So as I want to print that particular one, console.log, and the second element is going to be the index of 1, and I'm asking it to print the element with an index of 1. Perfectly all right. Save it. Let me try to run it. Okay, save it. Let me try to run it. And if you look at the code, basically, it should print the second element is a GN. Perfectly all right. So Surendra, we have a multiple values. So okay, so probably this number of values may increase. Why we are using this particular approach, which is printing a single element? Why can't we use a for loop in retrieving that? Yes, of course, we can use that. So for let, okay, I, this is gonna be a number, right, which is equal to, the array is starting with the 0th index, and the array default method is a length. Length is a method that we have on an array which will be getting the total number of values from that particular array. Okay, that will be getting the total number of values from that particular array. And here console.log, I was just printing that particular information using a for loop. Okay, perfectly all right. Save this program and execute it. And if you look at the console, 0th index, the first index, the second index, all the values in the array got retrieved, and all the values got printed down to the console. Okay, all the values in an array got retrieved, and all the values got printed down to the console. So this is the way how exactly we can handle it. Okay, this is the way how exactly we can handle it. Perfectly all right. And the next thing here is, as part of my documentation, I wanna add, I can perform these operations, guys. I can add an element to an array, I can remove an element from an array, I can change any element existing value in that particular array. For now, let us take an example and let us see how exactly we can use adding a further values to an array, wherein which you need to use a push method. Push is a method which is used to push an element into an array. So here, what I'm doing right now is, okay, what I'm gonna do right now is, what is the name of that array? Name array, right? So here, name array dot push Smith. I'm just using a push basically. And after that, what it's gonna does, adds Smith to the end of the array. Whenever you use a push method, that will be putting up a value at the end of the array. So I'm trying to print that particular chunk after pushing, see what exactly the value it got added. So let me try to run the program and check it out. John, Jane, Dio, and Smith. The Smith got added at the end. That's what the push does. Okay, perfectly all right. Surendra, but I don't want to do a push at the end. So I want to push in the first position. Okay, I want to push into the first position. In such a cases, we can use an unshift method. Okay, so here name array dot dot unshift. Okay, unshift, and I'm using Ramya. Okay, I'm using Ramya here. So what it's gonna happen, my copilot is suggesting that adds Ramya to the beginning of that array. So here I'm trying to print it after unshift. Let me try to save it. Let me try to run it, and let's check it out here. After unshift, Ramya got added to the first. So using a push, the value will be added at the end. Using an unshift, the value will be added at the starting. Perfectly all right. Good. So here, from this documentation, we have seen how to add an element, whether it is in the starting or whether it is the ending. We have seen an example. Now, let us see how exactly we can remove an element. Okay, how exactly we can remove an element. In order to remove an element, we will be using a pop. Okay, in order to remove an element, we will be using a pop. So here, what I'm gonna do right now is name array dot pop. See, basically, I simply used a pop. So what this pop does, this pop is gonna remove a last element, and let us try to print after the pop. Okay, when I run it, the input that I have given here is the input array that I have given here is John, Jane, and Doe. Okay, the last value got removed by the pop, and after pop, only two values got remained. Perfectly all right. But this time, I don't want to remove the last value. I want to remove the starting value. So where in which we are going to use a name array dot shift method, which will remove the first value from that array. Okay, which will remove the first value from that particular array. So when I run this particular program, say the input that you have given earlier is John. So the output we got is after shift, John got a remote. So this is the way how exactly we can add an element and how exactly we can remove an element. And the last one is change the element value. I have some value here and I just want to change it. See, basically the array index, array name, followed by a index where exactly you want to specify that, and the new value. If you define it automatically, it will change that particular value. So here, let me come down, let me comment these lines of a code. What I am gonna do right now is to the name array of the index 1, I'm naming it as Surendra. Okay, I'm naming it as a Surendra. Basically, I just wanna update it. And let's see whether the updated name got a printed or not. If you see the input, guys, the 0th index is a John and the second one is a Jane. So now I'm trying to replace this Jane with the Surendra. Let me save it. Let me run it. And let's check it out. See, John Surendra got a printed down to the console. In order to update it, the only thing is the array name followed by in which index you want to update it, and you can define this particular chunk. So this is the way how exactly we can define an array and play around with it. So among all these things, if you look at the for loop, basically we have seen a for loop here where we are using a length as a method, right, on an array. There are a couple more methods that we need to know that we will be studying as part of the next session. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.